Boom in your face. Boom in your face. Boom in your face. Boom in your face. Hello and welcome to Boom in Your Face, a platform for indie artists and musicians to come and share their new music or projects, as well as discuss topics about the music industry and the community at large. Boom in Your Face has two meanings. One is that boom in your face from the music that you're listening to. But the other boom in your face is when someone assumes the situation is one way and boom in your face is totally wrong and something totally different. So on occasion we discuss those boom in your face moments, so watch out that someone might be you. Listeners, if you'd like to share your boom in your face music or projects, or share your boom in your face moment, or just want to join us in the conversation, reach out and email me at boominyourface616@gmail.com or visit the website and sign up for the newsletter, like, subscribe, and share the episodes. I'm your host, Mary Kearney. Welcome. Welcome to Boom
Hey,
in Your Face podcast. And how are you doing
hey,
today?
I'm doing well, Mary. Thank you for having me on the show. It's such a pleasure to have this time with you.
Well, it's a pleasure for you to come on. I appreciate, that you took time out to come talk with me and share with my audience what you do and, just your inner thoughts. So thank you.
You're welcome, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Okay, great. Now, what we're going to start off with always is what you do. You're going to give your full name, what you do, and how people can reach you.
Well, my name is Mac Prichard. I live in Portland, Oregon. I run a regional job board, maxlist.org, that serves employers and job seekers in Oregon and Washington State. But we attract people from all over the United States and outside the U.S. as well, Mary, not because people want to move here for jobs, but because we offer lots of free career advice, including a weekly career advice podcast that I've been hosting for almost 8 years. People can reach me by finding me on LinkedIn by searching for my full name, or going to our website, maxlist.org, or searching for our podcast, Find Your Dream Job, wherever you get your shows.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's a great service because now employment is always a consistent thing that we need in all parts of our lives, and we change as we get older on different career choices. So you're definitely a necessity in there to let people and help them guide them through whatever the next phase may be or the first phase is starting to be.
You're making such an important point, Mary, about career change, because all of us will probably change careers at least once and usually several times. And one thing that we've seen at Max List is people who are good at job search skills and invest the time to get good at them have a much more rewarding and satisfying career, and frankly, a more lucrative career if they have those skills rather than just stumbling along or applying to every job they see on a job board like the one I run.
Okay. So let's start with this. When a person comes to you and they haven't had much success on their route of learning how to go for a job hunt, what is the first thing you can arm them with to do better instantly?
The first thing is to ask them what their goals are.
Mhm.
And you need to know what is the job that you want and where are the companies that you'd like to work, or maybe nonprofit organizations or government agencies. But
Right.
you need a list of target employers, Mary, because many people, uh, because they haven't learned job skills or been trained in them, you think the way to look for work is to go online and find job boards, and the big national sites like Indeed or LinkedIn, which are terrific, or regional sites like mine. And then if they see a job they could do or that sounds interesting, they send out an application. The problem with that approach is that because it's so easy to apply, employers get dozens, sometimes hundreds of applications. And the people
Right.
who stand out are the ones who are clear about what they want, what the company's challenges are, and how the applicant can help them address those problems.
So I hear in what you're saying as a descriptive, you're saying as a candidate, you actually become more like a consultant to the company on why they need you. And these are the reasons why. So you actually become a consultant for yourself.
You are. That's a great way of putting it because if you know what you want, then you know where you can look. I heard someone describe it the other day. I was talking to a job seeker on my podcast, and she was talking about the importance of having an idea of what you wanted to do next and where to look. And she said someone had advising her on this, and she said you wouldn't go into a restaurant and just order a sandwich. You would,
Right.
you know the sandwich that you want, and you know what the ingredients are. And a job search is very much that way. It's also like a trip. You wouldn't say, "Well, I'm going to take a vacation." Well, where are you going? Well, you'd pick a place, Orlando
Right.
or Las Vegas. You just wouldn't walk to the edge of town and start walking or hitchhiking or go to the airport and take the first flight available. You know where you want to go, and our careers are like that. So, to your point about being a consultant, when you know what you want and what you offer and what an employer's challenges and problems are, then indeed you come in and you say, "Here's uh, let me understand what your needs are, and then let me show you how I've addressed similar problems in the past and how I can help you in the future." And the
Right.
person who's able to do that is going to stand head and shoulders above their competitors when hiring managers are interviewing people, or even if they're able to do that in a cover letter and an application package when hiring managers are going through dozens of resumes to decide who to talk to.
Okay. That's a great perspective. Now, what made you get into this field?
Too long periods of unemployment, Mary.
Okay, inspiration, right?
Yeah, two great boom in your face moments.
Exactly. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
tell me about your two boom in your face moments.
Well, my career, I'm kind of long in the tooth. I'm in my 60s, so I've been in the
Okay.
workplace for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And before I started the job board, I worked in communications.
Okay.
I did public relations for elected officials. I was a speechwriter to a governor.
Mm,
I ran city hall communications for a mayoral candidate. I also was a spokesperson for state government agencies, and I ran communications for nonprofits.
okay.
And I had a rich and rewarding career in that area. But
Mm-hmm.
Mary, I also had too long periods of unemployment. And
Oh,
yeah,
isn't that
and
like the awakening moments in your life?
it's it taught me humility,
Mm-hmm.
and it taught me the importance of being clear about what I wanted and what I offered others in the workplace.
Right.
And it took me a painfully long time to learn those lessons. I cashed my last unemployment check once. It takes you about 6 months to do that.
Mm.
And then I had another 6 or 7 years later, I had another long period of unemployment where I came within one check of
Wow.
cashing my last unemployment check. So, how did that lead me to running a job board? Those two long periods of unemployment taught me not only the importance of being clear about my professional goals and understanding what I offered employers, but it
Right.
also taught me the importance of being of service to others.
Mm.
And people who have rewarding, not only rewarding careers, but I think the most rewarding lives,
Correct.
they don't think of themselves. They think of what they can do for others.
Right.
And when you do that professionally in your career, by making time to tell others who are looking for career advice, maybe serving on the boards of community organizations that you're interested in,
Mm-hmm.
volunteering, getting involved in your church or other faith community.
Mm-hmm.
You make connections that are going to help you professionally as well as personally,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to give without any expectation of getting anything in return.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and,
That's
and
how it
when
works.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I'm guessing you got some stories you can share too. And
Yes. I
yeah,
mean, that's what I live by. So I understand. I get everything you're saying because when you are of service to others, the universe has a way of always servicing you in the same way or even greater than you even began because the selflessness of you as a behavior.
and you say that so well, and that has been my experience. And the my way of being of service professionally,
Mm.
I did, I also am involved in other community groups as well. But
Right.
to help people in my profession was I started sharing job postings.
Mm-hmm.
And this was so I started this, gosh, 20 years ago. I had worked in state government here in Oregon. I'm again in Portland, Oregon. And I left a position to work at a university here, but I left a position in state government. And my way of staying in touch with my colleagues in state government
Right.
and being of service to them was to share job postings. And
Okay.
I think I'm sure you've had this experience, Mary. I'm sure many of your listeners have as well.
Mm-hmm.
We all get those emails from a friend who says, "Hey, we're hiring here.
Right.
Um, please send good candidates my way," or "I'm getting a new boss. Please help me find a great boss."
Right.
So when I got those, I built a list of people I wanted to stay in touch with, but also be of service to, and I started sharing them. And Mary, I did that for almost a decade, and the list
Okay.
kept growing and growing and growing. And along the way, I'd started my own public relations company, which I ran
Okay.
for 15 years. And
Mm-hmm.
I found myself paying someone to send out these postings. And
Right.
I thought, well, I need to focus on my new company that I've just launched. So I, I just can't do this anymore.
Right.
And so I stopped sending out the postings, and I started getting phone calls and emails from people who said, "Hey, what happened to that
Right. I'm
great?"
looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, you. And so I realized I needed to keep doing it, but I also needed to get paid for our time. And
Right.
so that's when I turned it into a business, and that was way back in 2010. And
Mm-hmm.
now we get about 80. We have a website, we have several newsletters, and we publish about 1,000 job postings a month, and we get about
Wow.
80,000 people who come to our website every month.
That's amazing. And that's so such a large pocket of people you're helping. But that is the truth. What we spoke about prior to talking about being in a bubble and not really realizing the ripple effect that the information and content that you put out there is significant to others. But you don't see that if you're in your own little world. All you know is I'm giving this information out and I pray someone is getting it and really appreciate the time and effort, because it takes time, effort, and commitment to get that information together and to put it together in a way so it's helpful for people. So I
And
commend you on starting that journey of service, as we're talking about, to try to help others that might be out there looking, and you found the niche.
I did, and it that kind of feedback is a gift,
Mm-hmm.
and it also was telling me that I was providing value to others, and
Right.
that's not only rewarding personally, but it's just a reminder of what a difference we can all make
Correct.
by following what you outlined a moment ago, being of service to others, and doing so without any expectation of getting
Mm-hmm.
anything in return.
And then also, I wanted to go back to when you said, if you realize in your double boom in your face moments that you was always one check away from, we'll say, or a disaster in a way, not to destroy or decimate your whole life,
Right.
but it was serious enough that this is my income and I'm one check away from that, but yet I found something, right? So you had that time to really grow, boom, and prepare, but also to help others because you had time free. But then at the end, when you thought that this is my last check of cashing in, your miracles happen for you to get back into the job force, to continue on your lifespan the way you needed to support yourself. Did you realize it in that way?
I did, and there were one of the periods of unemployment was in my mid 20s,
Okay.
and what happened was uh, I was out of work for about 9 months, and
Mm-hmm.
I was getting interviews, Mary, but
Yes.
I wasn't getting offers.
Mm-hmm.
And in hindsight, now I see that I was getting in front of hiring managers, and I was basically saying, well, I was applying for all kinds of jobs.
Right.
I was applying to be a fundraiser. I was
Mm-hmm.
applying to be a reporter. I was applying to work in public relations, and I could have done all of these things,
Right.
but I wasn't sure that I wanted to do any of them.
Mm.
And hiring managers can pick that up. And
Right.
so they're going to talk typically to 3 to 5 people for in interviews, and they're going to pick the person who, if you get into that room, you're one of that 3 to 5. You've got the qualifications.
Right.
The question is, um, are you the person who's the most enthusiastic about the job? Do you have the best understanding of the employer's needs, and does this fit with your long-term goals uh, and commitments? And I couldn't say yes to any of those 3 questions. And
You said,
so
I came
I'm
here, I need a job.
right, exactly. And I guess I could do this job. So what happened in that first boom in your face moment
Mhm.
was I realized uh, I I was struggling. My wife was working at a local university. We were
Okay.
living in Boston in those days, and someone at the career guidance office agreed to meet with me as a favor to my wife.
Okay.
And I'm embarrassed. I don't remember the lady's name, but she took me through. She spent an hour or so with me, and
Mhm.
she helped me understand that you got to have goals. You got to pick the kind of job you want to focus on, and then you got to get out and talk to people and
Right.
through informal conversations. And when I followed her advice, it took me about 6 weeks. I got a great job because I got clear about what I wanted to do. I went out and I networked with people through what are called informational interviews. And
Okay.
that led me to getting a position working in public information for a large construction project in Boston. This was way back in the 1980s called the Big Dig. And I was their
Mhm.
first spokesperson. It was a big job. It was rewarding and it was never advertised. I got it through word of mouth, but I got it because of that boom in your face moment, which
Yes.
helped me understand, um, you know, you got to do something differently. And so I figured out you got to have goals. Learn how to, you got to learn job search skills.
Right.
So that was my first one. Later, I about 7 years later, I had another long period of unemployment.
Okay.
And this was a result, I think, of arrogance on my part, Mary.
Okay.
I'd gone to graduate school at Harvard. I had
Mhm.
this fancy master's degree.
I
And I
understand.
remember I got it. I thought, oh, I'll never have to worry about looking for work again.
Right.
Big mistake. Big mistake.
It can be.
So, yeah. So I had this job working for a mayoral candidate. We lost the election. I was out of work. And I thought that, well, I'll apply for jobs, but I won't go out and volunteer. Um,
Okay.
and I had done that the first time I was out of work. I worked on a congressional race, and that helped me stay sane and help me
Right.
connect with others and help me
Be
contribute.
busy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let me tell you, the worst thing you can do is sit at home by yourself when you're unemployed. And I
Mm-hmm.
did that for a number of months. Finally, I realized I've got to get out and start volunteering again.
Right.
And I did that. And that led to another position working on a campaign and then eventually to a state job. So I got out of that hole, but
Mm-hmm.
those two experiences together again taught me the value of being of service to my community
Right.
and learning job search skills. And at Max List, um, which started as a way to be of service to others, and we could service remains central to our mission of making hiring more human.
Right.
But the other thing that makes us different from the other great job boards out there, Mary, is we provide lots of free advice about how to look for work
Right.
because looking at job boards is only part of your job search. If you want to have the most rewarding work and make the best contribution and get the greatest satisfaction, make a difference in your community, you got to be clear about what you want and you got to have good job search skills. And we provide articles, podcasts, courses, all free about
Mm-hmm.
how to do this.
Oh, that's amazing. And thank you to whoever that lady was that helped you, but also to your wife that gave you the heads up to go speak with her.
Yeah. And
Right.
also
She
put up
said,
with
I'm
my
getting right,
long
right.
periods of
She said, I'm gonna
unemployment.
get you back to work. Let me let you talk to somebody.
Yeah, she didn't give up on me, so I'm a lucky guy.
Yes, you are. You know, we tend to stick in with you, but we want you to follow the plan that we have to help you out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was big of you because sometimes people can be obstinate a little bit about, oh, I don't want to do this or that way, but you was open, so that was wonderful.
Well, I had my periods of obstinacy too, so I
Yes,
don't want to
exactly.
sugarcoat it. But
Right.
eventually, I came along.
With a
Yeah.
boom in your face and a boom in your head. Get
Yeah.
yeah, get busy.
It was a double boom. Yeah.
That's funny. So now you said you have at least 80,000 people that come to you every month to get information and to
Hmm.
get help and assistance, which is wonderful and great. Do you do webinars and things of that nature, workshops? Because you said you
We
do a
we
weekly talk, but do you do a grouping?
we did before the pandemic. We would have
Okay.
events in the community,
Mm-hmm.
usually 4 to 6 a year, in cooperation with local colleges and universities here in the Portland, Oregon area.
Okay.
We haven't done that. We doubled down on the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a every Wednesday I talk to a different career expert about the nuts and bolts of job search,
Okay.
and we've done more than 400 of those interviews now.
Mm-hmm.
And most of our listeners are outside of the Pacific Northwest, the states of
Right.
Oregon and Washington.
As a on the road kind of thing, because even though you're already doing the work by having the weekly interviews,
Mhm.
but maybe if you take it one step further and you can go into different areas, like you go out to Florida or whatever, and just do a talk that week and you stream it live as you do for your podcast. You know,
It's a great idea. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I love the virtual events, but I candidly I also miss the in person ones a
Exactly,
lot.
because you get the
Yeah,
both the
yeah,
feedback of the textual. I can see, hear, and feel what is really happening between the information I'm giving you and you're getting it. So that consistent interaction, because we still need interaction, even though this is great to do it as a platform and to reach more people, but also it's still important, like you're saying, to do the in person so you can get that feedback as well.
I agree. And
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you have this experience too. I just get energy from being around other people,
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's very rewarding. Yeah.
Right, it is. It's like a charge and surge because you can connect and you love when you ignite someone or they ignite you at the same token because it is a give and take kind of situation. So yeah, that's wonderful. So Mac, I'm looking for that as an upcoming thing. You
Okay,
coming? You
you're
coming?
gonna hold me accountable.
I'm gonna hold you accountable. I'm gonna say we doing a live stream webinar interview with Mac, and he's coming in with all his job tips, and we're gonna have a group of people. I already speak it,
All
and then
right.
you come on in and we just do it live, just like that one day.
Now,
Get a group of people together, and you're gonna be streaming, so it'll be a double bubble. It'll be a
now,
double boom.
all right. How can I say no to that? And I really should do more live events. I did a fair amount of public speaking, but I on my show it's very structured, and I
Right.
like that. But
Mm-hmm.
there's something that comes with live stream and a spontaneity there, isn't there,
Correct.
Mary?
And changing it up a little bit to go out of the side of your comfort zone because sometimes
Yeah.
we can get so comfortable with our format that we don't try to do something different and find out that it's just something additional that you want to do.
No, it's good advice.
Mm-hmm. So now, when you do your weekly, because you said it's structured, how do you do your research to decide on what you're going to do next on your podcast?
We've been doing it for almost 8 years, so the show's
Mm-hmm.
evolved. But there's
Okay.
always been a interview with a career expert